Hello, everybody. Good evening. So, yeah, before I start, I can just I have shared the links to the Google Drive where we upload the course materials, like whatever we show here, like this Jupyter notebook will be uploaded to the drive. So, I've shared that link, and I've also shared the link to the YouTube channel where I'll upload these live recordings. Yeah, so before that, I can just show you about the discussion forum. So yeah, if you get into your course, the course website, like here, you'll be able to access all your lecture videos, right? So if you go to Q&A tab, it'll redirect you to a discussion forum. Yeah, you just need to log in. Yeah, so whenever you have any questions, you can like start a new conversation and you could just type in your questions. So this email will be sent to everybody as part of this course, and it will be sent to the TAs and the course instructors as well. So this is one thing you could do. Yeah, I've shared the chat, I mean the links. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so I've shared the YouTube link of the previous lecture. So the channel name would be like under my name, Prakriti V. So yeah, you can find. You have not got the links. I've shared the links. Yeah, I can just like copy the links again. Okay. So I guess I'll start with today's live session. Yeah, so I might wrap it up soon because yeah, I'm not very well, and yeah, I hope you can put up with my voice. So yeah, just to give an overview of what I'll be covering today is just like a recap of what all was covered in week 2 lectures. And yeah, if you just understand these concepts and you're able to run these, that's enough for you to solve your assignments. And so based on last week's live session, a lot of questions were how do you apply Python in your life? I mean, like in future, like why is it helpful and all that. So towards the end of this lecture, I'll give you some examples like how these functionalities are used in day-to-day applications. So yeah, I can show that towards the end of these after I explain these basic concepts. So yeah, so this week's lectures were like it happened on Jupyter Notebook. So in case you didn't know yet, so you can install Jupyter separately, or you can install Anaconda Navigator and you can access Jupyter through Anaconda Navigator. So yeah, if you just click launch here, page, like it'll get redirected to your Jupyter application. So you can just like create a new notebook, and yeah, that's it. This is your Jupyter notebook. So the basic things is like you can export these notebooks as a HTML file or a PDF. So it just looks like a report. It's very good for documenting stuff. So whatever script you write, it stays, and whatever output is generated, that also stays, right? And how you do these like heading annotations is, so if you just start with a hash, like followed by space, and like type whatever your heading main heading is, you just do that. And here you can see this drop down. So wherever you're annotating and like creating headings, you just like choose markdown and you hit on the run button. So now this heading is, you can see the heading. So if you want like a subheading, you can like use two hashtags, subheading 1 and again markdown. So you can see that the size is a bit smaller. So the same happens when you like add an extra hash, right? It's smaller. And then like if you just write whatever you want and still choose markdown and run it, this is just like normal text will be written. And whenever you're running a code, you like keep this as such and just you run it and your output will be generated here. So yeah, this is how you use Jupyter Notebook. And yeah, let's get started with the lecture. Yeah, I think you can practice Python programming in mobile. I I don't remember the applications. There are apps where you can do that. So you should be able to like find it. You can search. Yeah, you should be able to run that. Why do we use return statement? Why don't we use print function? So when you want to print something or you just like want to return whatever is stored in an object, let's say I assign a is equal to 5, right? I can do print 5, I don't know, print a, it'll get printed. Or I could just type a and a will be printed. So mostly return statements are used when you build a function. Yeah, I'm not gonna name of Python app. Yeah, how to install Jupyter. Okay, yeah, let me just finish what I was telling now. So return function is mostly used when you build a function, and as a result of the function, some output will be generated, right? So in that case, you print you use the return statement so that when you run that function, whatever object is part of that function that you built, that is what you want in your output. So that's when you use return function in Python. I can just show you a quick example. Yeah, I'm not finding. Yeah, I'm just trying to find an example of a function. Let me see if I can find something else. Yeah, so function is something like this is called a function. Like it has multiple lines of code. So what you do is like you just create a multi-line script, and when you like run this function, and then how do you run this whole function is just by doing this and your inputs. You specify your inputs and your if when you run this line, your entire lines will be executed. So that is what you call a function. So like at the end of the function, you use return. So here in this case, I'm returning class df. So I have created an object like or a variable called class df somewhere in the function. And that is what I want my final output to be. So in these cases, you use return. So return is usually a statement that's used within a function to je- to like give you your output results or your output objects. While print statement is just like used to print your whatever is in your current object or a variable. Yeah, so I believe you have found the Python application like for phone, mobile phones that you can use. And yeah, how do you install Jupyter? So it should be like as simple as this. You just Google install Jupyter. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is the easiest way to install. Let me see if you can get like downloadable versions. I'm not sure if you can get that. Yeah, I can't find anything. So what you do is like if you have Python installed in your system, you can go to your terminal or even in no, you can't do that. Yeah. So you let me share my screen again. Yeah, so this is your terminal. Like where you just write pip install Jupyter. So if you do this, your Jupyter will be installed. Your application will be installed. Or yeah, if not for this, the you can just install. So you should find a downloadable version of Jupyter, like the executable should be, you should be able to download that and you can run it. Yeah, my laptop is just, yeah, just give me a minute. Okay. Yeah, so I guess I'll get started with the live session. So what was covered in week 2 was, so you saw the basic sequence data types. So sequence data is just basically like text handling or handling numbers and all that stuff. So there are many data types. So like based on your work, like you would have seen in your week 1 lectures, like what are characters, what is like a string and all that. So now we'll look more into detail about these sequence data types, and we'll look at the functions that you can apply on these sequence data types to perform multiple operations. So like to start with, yeah, to start with, so these are the basic major sequence data types. So these are string. So you usually create a string by enclosing within double quotes or single quotes. So whatever you write within these, that becomes a string. So, and then there's a list, and you enclose a list within like square brackets, and tuple, and then arrays, dictionaries, sets, and ranges. So all of these are like ordered sequence data types except dictionary and set. So these, the values or the items inside an array, or the items inside, oh sorry, the items inside a dictionary or the items inside a set, they are not ordered. So they're just part of the whole thing, but it's not ordered. Whereas like the elements in a list, tuple, array, and range, so these are all ordered. So yeah, this is how you create a string. So you just type whatever you want inside double quotes or single quote. And inside a string, you can write anything you want. Like you can use like alphabets or numbers and also special characters and anything. So yeah, I'm just creating the string and I'm printing it. So now your strings are printed. And then this is how you create a list. So you enclose whatever you want inside square brackets, and you define the elements of the list like numbers or a mix of numbers and uh, characters like strings. So a list could be anything. So now when you print this, you'll get your list 1 and followed by your list 2. And then there's an array. So array is basically, instead of defining single variables, like you could define value 1 is equal to 1, value 2 is equal to 2, value 3 is equal to 4. But instead of doing that, you just create like one object here called an array 1, and then you define multiple values inside it, and you can access all of these separately by using a for loop. So I can access the value number 3 by defining this I is equal to 3 in the array. So that's the basic idea of an array. We'll look further into details in that. So this is how you create an array. You have to like write it within the array function, and I, comma, like whatever elements you want inside your array. These have to be given within square brackets. So now if you print array 1, like if you do this, if you write print array 1, just this whole thing would get printed. That is not the actual array. So if you want to print just the elements of the array, this is how you do it. You have to write it within a for loop. So for X or for like any value, you could like call this I or anything. Like for value in array, print I. So you're just printing all the values inside the array. So this is how you access it. So tuple is also similar to a list, but it's just a different data type. You can create it by yeah, just a second. So where do you practice? So I'm not very sure about apps, but I have seen a few replies here. Replit, I think that's an app to practice Python. Replit. So yeah, I'll answer these questions towards the end of the lecture. So it depends on what company it is and what kind of a job it is. But in no interview, they'll ask you like very basic stuff. Like they won't tell you to like execute the code. Or yeah, I might be wrong, but what topics should you cover? So yeah, it all depends on what kind of an interview it is. But you the main thing is that like if you're not aware of a specific topic, you should just say that. You can say like you haven't had experience in that specific topic, but you're ready to learn. So yeah, you just have to be like strong in the basic concepts, and you should know like how to write scripts and how the syntaxes work, and you should understand how coding works. So that's enough for you to tell. Assessment questions 6 and 7. Is it from the current assignment or yeah, I'll just have a look. But yeah, I'm not supposed to discuss the assignment questions. Yeah, I can have a look at it. So yeah, like the idea of all these assignment problems is for you to be able to run these scripts. And so yeah, this question is which will not give an error after execution. So yeah, I cannot discuss these with you, but yeah, I can just, you try to run it, and yeah, it's the answer would be obvious. Like whichever you get the error, that is the answer. But like you need to note down what error it is and why you're getting the error, and you just go back, and I can discuss this next week, but I can't like do this now. Okay. Okay, we were looking at tuples. So you can create a tuple as such, like just by specifying whatever values you want inside the tuple, separated by commas, or you can use uh, what is these brackets as well. And then the next data type is something called a dictionary. It has paired values, like um, so it's got values called keys and items, or the actual values. So you define the keys within single quotes, and the value is just anything followed by a colon. Right, so this is how you create a dictionary. You can create a dictionary either by defining all these keys and values inside curly braces like this. You can see that the dictionary has been created and you can like print it. Or the other way is to use this function dict, D-I-C-T, and then brackets, and inside square brackets, you write each element within round brackets here. So this first element you write within round brackets, comma, and then second element like key, comma, value, and then key, comma, value. So yeah, this is the syntax. You just have to like keep in mind this syntax: dict, square, round brackets, curly brackets, and inside that, this is how the syntax is. So these are two ways to create a dictionary. And then a set. So dictionary is unordered. So uh, by unordered, we mean that these do not have any particular order. So I can't say that maths is number one, physics is number two, biology is number three. Like, yeah, that's not how dictionaries work. And sets is also same, it's unordered. So you can have created a set here, and when you run this, you could see that these are alphabetically arranged. So these are arranged in an alphabetical order. And then the next data type is range. So like the name suggests, it's just a range of values. So you can define a range by doing this range, and within brackets you specify the starting value, and then you specify the last value, the ending value. And this is step size. By step size you mean like how much the value increases. So here I've written 0 to 100, so all the values between 0 to 100 with an increment of 10. So that would mean 0, 10, 20, 30, 40 till 90. So when you specify the ending value, this value won't be, anything before that value would get printed. 100 won't be printed here. So yeah, this is how you specify a range. And this is how you print elements in a range. You could also see like if I can just like specify 0 to 100 with a step size of 2, you can see 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 till 98. Not, yeah, wait. For I in range 2, print I. So you can see like 0 till 98 because I specified a step size of 2. Is indexing possible in sets? So indexing is not possible in dictionaries and sets because, like I said, dictionaries and sets, these are unordered values. Like they don't hold any value there. Like we'll come to that. So by index, you actually mean the position of a certain element in uh in a data type. So when I create a list, mm, yeah, so this is a list, right? So in Python, indexing starts from 0. So the value, like the position of this first element would be 0. And the by position, I mean index. So the index of your first element is 0. Index of your second element is 1. So it goes like from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So list, tuple, all these are unordered, like all these are ordered data types, list, tuples, and arrays. So by order, I mean that if I want to see what is at index 0, at position 0, 1 is the first element. So yeah, you just need to remember that dictionaries and sets are unordered. So indexing will not work on that because like these don't hold a position. I can't say maths is at number 1 position, physics is at number 2. Like index of 0, like index of maths is 0. So that doesn't hold here. It's just like how these functions, like these things work. So it's just like all these elements belong to this dictionary, belong to this object. Okay. So now we have looked at the basic data types, which are list, tuple, array, dictionary, sets, and ranges. So now we can, now let's look at the operations that can be performed on each of these data types. So the major ones are indexing, slicing, concatenation, and multiplication. So indexing is basically position. Like you try to identify the position of a specific value within the list. Or you need to find out what is in the fifth position of a given list or a given tuple or an array. So that's called indexing. So you just do that by uh, let's see what string 1 is. String 1 was hello, right? So now I want to find the index, the position of L. So I write string 1 dot index of L. So I get 2. How do I get 2? Is dictionary mutable? Yes, dictionary is mutable. By mutable, what do you mean by mutable? Mutable is whether you can make changes to it or not. So we'll look like in the next few things. So mutable, so something is called mutable if you are able to modify it, right? Yeah, I'll show you further like how to modify a dictionary or how you can, if you are able to add values to something, or if you are able to like remove values from a thing. All these are mutable. So yes, dictionaries are mutable. So this is basically how you find the index of L. So H would be at the 0th position. E is at the first position. L is at the second position. So yeah, it just returns the position of the first occurrence of L. It doesn't do that. So if you want to find how many L's are there, you have to use a different function, like something called count. String, maybe, I think count it is. Yeah. So I'm counting number of L's, so I get 2. But yeah, so index, it just gives you the first occurrence, the position of the first occurrence of an element. So that's why you're just getting 2, like second position. And yeah, I can find the index. So if I like try to find the index of A, you'll get an error because A is not found in the string. So you'll get something called 3. Why didn't we get 3 instead of 2? So like I said, indexing in Python starts from 0. This is not, it doesn't start from 1. So if it starts from 1, you're right. Like you're supposed to get 3. Like that would be like, yeah, let me try to. Okay. HELLO. So in Python, indexing starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So L is at the second position. Like, so that's why you get 2. If indexing starts from 1, you'll get 3. But that's not how it is in Python. There are 2 L's. So yeah, that's what I meant. So index function, it just gives you the first occurrence, the position of the first occurrence. It doesn't give you the next occurrences. So that's how it just works. Let me see how, uh, yeah, just a second. So if you want to find the index of all the occurrences of L in a string, you might have to write it within a loop. Yeah, let me think how it's done. Yeah, well, can we get multiple values? Yes, you can get. So yeah, wait, let me tell you how that works. So here we have 2 L's. So if you want to print the index of all the occurrences of L, you have to write a loop. So how that can be done is we have string 1. Mm, character in. Okay, I'm getting an error. Yeah, uh, I'm not sure about this thing. Like I'm doing something wrong here. Yeah, I'll just get back to this. Like if you want to print the index of both the L's, you have to write it in a loop. But yeah, it's just not working. Okay. You can also, so yeah, if you type multiple values here, you will still get the index of L. Like you have LO, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3. So LO starts at third position. So if you type LLO, you'll get 2 because this string starts at the second position. So this is how it works. So index, it just gives you like a one value, like wherever the first occurrence of your query is, it returns that value. And you can also like find out what what character is at the first position of the string. So string 1. So what's in position 1? You do that, you get E because HE. And you want to see what's in the fifth position. You get an error because hello just has HE like 4 positions. It doesn't have a fifth position. So that's why you get an error. You're trying to find out what's in the fifth position. There's no fifth position, so you get an error. So you can like find what is the last value, like last character of the string. So last character is -1. So HELLO, O is the last character. So you get O. So yeah, it works like this. So this is -1, this is -2, this is -3, this is -4, this is -5. So now if you want to find what's at -5, it's like H, the first letter. So like forward indexing, like from the start, it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But when you do it backwards, it starts from -1, -2, -3. That's just how this is. Yeah, the same thing can be applied to lists. So what is the fourth element of the list? List 1. Fourth element of list 1 is 3. So yeah, if in case you, yeah, let's see what's list 1 because I had created the list earlier. So list 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all these. So I want to see what's at the fourth position. So 0th position is 1, first position is 2, second position is 3, third position is 4, and sorry, list 1 index of. Okay, so what this does is, oh yeah, so when you give it within square brackets, it returns it returns the value at the fourth position. So yeah, when I write it like this, it looks for 4 in the list and it returns the index of 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I type index of 4, it looks for the index of 4 here. But when I do list 1, 4, it looks for what is at the fourth position. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is at the fourth position. So when you run this, you should get 5. See, you're getting 5 here. So you just need to understand the difference between the syntaxes here. So yeah, the first thing is if you want to find the position of an element, this is how you do it. If you want to find what element is there at the nth position, you just use square brackets. So yeah, this applies to everything. Like even here, you saw index of A and this thing. You can also apply the same to arrays and the same with tuples. But indexing doesn't work on sets. You get something called type error. Type error, it says set is not subscriptable. So you can't like, because this is unordered, you can't say what is at the second position because there's no positioning in sets and dictionaries. So that's why you get the thing. You'll get errors when you try to perform these operations. And you can do it with ranges as well. So indexing works on everything else. And then slicing is basically like subsetting. So I'm slicing string 1, 3. So what this value is, it's just your end value. So what do I mean by that? HELLO. So when I write it like this, it returns the value starting from 0 till the value that is specified here. So 3, it's specified till 3. So your output would be the values at 0, 1, 2 position. So it stops at 3. So all these values will be printed. So HEL will be your output. So that's why you get HEL here. Just and then the next way is like you specify the start position and then the end position of what you want to be sliced, and then step size is 2 here. So what does that mean? It means you have HELLO 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to slice 0 to 4, which means till third position, you want to slice it till third position. So HELL. But you have specified a step size. So by default, the step size is 1. So if you just specify 0 to 4, your output would be HELL. But you have specified a step size of 2. So it'll just return every alternate value. So it'll print this, and then it'll skip this, and then it'll print this position. So your output will be H and L. So that's why you see you get H and L when you do this. And then yeah, one more way is to like define it with a colon. So 1 to 3. So your start position and your end position. So it prints the values at 1, 2, and 3 index. And same with array. So if you specify 1 colon and then an empty value, it just starts from the first position. It's it's wait, let me just print what's array 1 first. So you can see array is 1, 2, 4, 5, 9. So you're starting from 1. So the 0th value won't be here in your output. So it starts from first position, like 2 to 24 is printed here. So if you specify an end limit, like fourth position, yeah, this is how it works. And yeah, slicing doesn't work on dictionaries and sets either. So you can't subset a dictionary, you can't like slice it. So when you try to do that, you get errors. And but this works on ranges, so you can try this function on ranges. And then the next thing is concatenation. By concatenation, you just mean that you add extra elements to your existing uh, object. So we already have, sorry. So this is our list two. Now I want to add grapes to list two. So when you write plus is equal to, this value will be added to this list two. So now let's see what happens. So grapes is added. Great. But what happens if you don't give these brackets? So if you don't give the brackets, it will consider each character as a single element. So if your output would be, oh, sorry. So it'll add grapes like this separately. It'll add separate values. And because I ran it twice, it's been added twice. I just executed it twice. So that's why it's been added twice. So you need to like enclose these within square brackets. No, is it necessary that if data structure is followed by indexing, it's following indexing, then it should also follow slicing? No. So these are just, we're trying to explain what all Python can do with different data types. So it just depends on what you want to do. Sometimes you might just need to index, you might need to find the position of certain things, but sometimes you need to like slice certain values. So these are all independent of each other. It's not necessary that you have to do all of these. It's just the things that you can do. Yeah, I will upload these lecture notes on the Google Drive. So yeah, when you try to add new elements to the list, please make sure you enclose them within square brackets and then you add it. Otherwise, it'll get added as separate characters. So that's one thing to remember. And then you want to add like concatenate, matlab you just want to add values to an existing data type. Here, this is how you add things to a list, right? So we just saw if you want to add things to a list, you like just enclose them in square brackets. But if you try to do that to an array, it will not work. It says can only append array, not list. So it means that you can only append an array with an array. You can't append an array with a list. So it has to, so like if you remember the definition of array is it has all similar data types. So you can't append list with an array. So this is how you need to append it. So array one, and then you create this thing as an array. So array of 10, 20. You do this, and now these values are added to your array one. So now you can see that these are added. So that's fine. So if you want to add things to a tuple, you just enclose them within round brackets. Because if you remember, this is how you create a tuple. So it should all follow the same thing. So because list, you create a list by defining them within square brackets. You also add elements, defining them within square brackets. You create a tuple by enclosing them within round brackets. You also add elements within round brackets. So it should all follow the same syntax. So this is added, right? I can add more also. So one more thing is they could these can also have repeating values. It can have two like multiple occurrences of the same value. So this is something in tuples and arrays. It can have repeating values. Yeah, just give me just a minute. So we have seen about concatenation. And then multiplication. So by multiplication means you add more. So I have list one. So this is list one. So now if I just multiply it with 2, this list will just be printed twice. Like the values within the list would just double. So you can see like this list is, the values in this list occur twice. If you do 4, it'll occur like 4 times, all these values. So that's what you mean by multiplication. So when you do this, it just multiplies the number of occurrences of all the elements within the list. And same with array. If you do array, so you can see 1 to 24, this is the actual array. Because you multiplied with 2, it just added, like, it just doubles the occurrences. Same goes with tuple. But now if you just want to multiply one specific value with whatever number, so in that case, you need to access the particular element, right? So to do that, so tuple to position 1. So what is in position 1? Number 2 is at position 1. So what this does is it multiplies the value at position 1 with 2. So you'll get 4 here. If you do 4, you're supposed to get 2 multiplied by 4, 8. So you get 8. You can see that. So like can we use list inside an array? No, you cannot use list inside an array. So like, yeah, when you create an array, like everything has to be an integer or everything has to be a float. It does not recognize a list as one value. So yeah, that is not possible. And laptop, this, like, all these, any laptop would support these basic coding levels, because like all these, there's no particular requirement. So unless you're doing machine learning stuff and image processing stuff, so all these are CPU intensive coding. So it depends on what coding. Just the simple R and Python languages, like as long as your input data is not too huge, all these laptops should be good enough for coding. Yeah, if you have apps, you can practice coding there, but it's just not very convenient to do it on the phone. But yeah, if it's comfortable for you, you can do it. But I'm not aware of using these on phones. So yeah, if you like find something, yeah, you can feel free to practice. So what happens if you multiply two lists? Let us see. It can't be done. Let's just try to find. I don't think it works like this. If you do this, it won't work. So it says it can't multiply sequence by non-integer of type list. So by this function, it just like doubles the values or like triples. Like if you do into 3, it just triples the values. So this is not how multiplication in list works. But yeah, you can access each element and then multiply it. Like you could do list 1, position 0, multiply with 3. If you do that, you can you can access individual elements in the list. But yeah, if you want to multiply two list, that might require, I think. Mm. So again, like this function, it just, so let's say I do list 1 into 2. It just doubles the occurrences of elements in the list. So if I do list of 3 into 2, it multiplies the third position. Let, let's do this. It multiplies the value in the second index with 2. So you get 3 into 2, 6. So now if I want to multiply two lists, you would need to probably write it within a loop because you're trying to access each element. So yeah, let me define the for A and B. List 2. Not sure if this will work. No. Okay, wait. List 4. Okay. Or list 1 has 1, 2, and 3. List 4 has 2, 4, and 6. So yeah, 2 into 1, 2, 4 into 2, 8, 6 into 3, 18. So if I want to multiply each element in list 1 with the element in the corresponding index in the other list, you have to write it within a loop like this. So I'm defining all the elements in list 1 as A and the elements in list 2 as B, and I'm trying to multiply A into B and specifying the list that need to be multiplied. So yeah, was that fine? We have, so the zip function, it basically iterates each element. So when you say A, like for the first iteration, when I say iteration, it goes through multiple cycles. So here I have 3. I perform multiplication in 3 steps. To be clear. So list 1, all the elements in list 1 is A. 1, 2, 3. Elements in list 2, I define it as B. 4, comma 6. So I want to do A into B. So in the first round, it will multiply this. In the second round, it will multiply this. In the third round, it will multiply this. So that's called an iteration. So doing it like doing one thing first and then doing the next thing and then the next thing. So in the first iteration, it accesses A1 into B1. That is A1 into B1. In second iteration, A2 into B2. So yeah, that's what zip does. It iterates through each element and then it returns you the output. Can I print? I'm not sure. I don't think that will work. because zip works only within the loop. So yeah, you won't get anything. So this function works only within like a for loop. So you can't like print what is in zip. So yeah, like I just explained, zip, it tries to iterate through each value for A and B. So all these, it's not necessary that you need to remember all this. So you just need to know that you can multiply two lists. And yeah, like to be honest, you just need to know how to Google things. So you need to like know how to query. So for querying this, you should probably type, how do I multiply each element in two lists in Python? So if you type this, you should be able to find it like in somewhere. That's how you do it. And then, so there are other functionalities as well. So I can use this capitalize. So these functions are all specific only to strings. So this capitalize, title, swap case. So yeah, I've written them here as such. So let's look at that. So when I type capitalize, it just capitalizes uh the first letter of a word. So I have another string called string 2. So the school is 10 minutes away. So if I do string 2 dot capitalize. Yeah, so it just capitalizes the first letter of the sentence. That's what capitalize does. But if you do dot title, it capitalizes the first letter of every word in the string. So you can see S is capital, I is capital, M, A. Like all the first letters of each word is capitalized if you specify title. And then swap case means it just swaps it. So if it is uppercase in the original string, it becomes lowercase. And if it is lowercase, it becomes uppercase. So that's what this thing does. Second. And then, yeah, oh, if you, how do we capitalize all words? Okay. Let me try to do that. So string 1 is hello. So it's just the first letter was capital. Now let me try to capitalize everything. So you want everything uppercase. So you type dot upper. So it just capitalizes everything. And if you want everything in small letter, you type lower. So even H is lowercase now. Yep. That's how you do it. And then, yeah, I just explained what zip is. Zip, it just accesses every element in the list. It tries to, like for every iteration, it only picks one value. Like first iteration picks first value of this list and first value of this. And then second iteration picks this value. So that's what zip is. Mm. Yeah, I think Soumijit, can you please stop? I've not turned off annotations because I am trying to write with my pen as well. If I turn it off, I'll not be able to write it. That's why I haven't turned it off. Otherwise, like yeah, I would just turn it off and yeah, I can still do that. I can turn it off and just not explain with pen. But yeah, I thought like if I use the pen, it would be much easier to explain. Okay. So if you want to find, what does this say? Yeah, again, it's similar to string to index of A. That gives you 25. You could also alternatively use find. It tells A is in the 25th position. And again, you can use count to find the total number of occurrences. And then you can also do replacements. So the original string had the school is 10 minutes away. So now I am replacing 10 with 15. So now it says school is 15 minutes away. So this is the function that you use. Replace the actual value and the value that you want to replace it with, right? And this function, it just tells you whether string 1 is all numerical. String 1 is all numerical. True of all numbers. No, I think so. What? Yeah, I'm not sure why this is. Yeah, let me just recheck this and get back. I'm not sure what this is. Yeah. So one more thing that you could do with strings is like you have multiple strings and you want to like write it in a specific format. So this is how you can do it. I have defined four variables: author name, co-authors, the journal, the year of publication. So these could be anything, right? These values could be anything. The format that these one has to have to be written is author, space, co-authors, followed by a full stop, space, journal, followed by a comma, and then followed by year. So this is the format that I want to write it in. So if I write this, this gets printed. So you can change these values and yeah, this thing also will get changed. So this is useful when you have so many values and you can't like individually write everything like one at a time. So you just define all the author names in like in a loop. Like you define a list. You can also define a list of authors. Yeah, we're not getting the details of that, but I'm just telling that's something you can do here. You can like, so authors, you could have 100 authors and then you could have like 100 journal names, 100. So you want to print the citation of each thing within the 100 citations. So this is how you do it. So these are called placeholders and these could be anything. Like if you put a hyphen here, your output will have a hyphen here. So these you can define. And these are the variables. So these could vary, but still your format is this. So this is how like probably like if you have seen insurance certificates, like all these documents, the format will be the same, right? Your structure of the document will be the same. It's just your name will be different. Your date of birth will be different. Your passport number will be different. So yeah, probably in the system, in the backend, this is how it is. So they have a structure for the document. This is how it is. They just modify these names. And in the final document, it gets printed in a certain format. So this is how these coding languages work in the backend. Yeah, this is just like a simple example of how it is. So now I'm talking about a whole document. So in that case, you'll have much more lines of code. But it's just these things that need to be modified. Like for one person comes to me and applies for an insurance, I just modify their name and their personal details, and the document would have that. So yeah, this is where these things are useful. And you can find the length. Length is the total number of values or items that is present in a list or a dictionary or a tuple. So yeah, that can be found using length, len operation. So when you do anything dot clear, it'll just empty the string or a list or whatever it is. So all the values within these data types will be removed when you use clear, right? So append is similar to like concatenation. Like you try to add stuff to the uh, list or an array. So append does the same thing. It's similar to concatenation. So here I'm trying to, no, okay. So you can see that I'm trying to append two values to a list. When I do this, I get an error. It says append takes only one argument, but I have given two. So yeah, it doesn't take two values. But if I do this, it considers this as a single value, and this will be appended to the list. This is one thing that you need to remember. And yeah, you can also add or update sets and dictionaries as well. So I'm adding one more player to the team. So So instead of append for sets, you use add or you use update. You can also use update here. Oh, you haven't. Okay. Um, so when I say add, it adds this string. I'm not sure why update doesn't work. Yeah. So when you use update, you have to use the thing inside square brackets. That's why it works. Otherwise, it adds every character as an element. So this is how you add elements to a set. And same with dictionary, you can use update. So here within the round brackets, you give the key is equal to the value. So you can see that it's updated here. So now you want to see what all keys are there in the dictionary. You just do dict.keys. You see maths, physics, biology, right? And then I want to see the items. So when I print items, it just tells me what all the items, like key, comma, value. It gives you all that. So when I type get chemistry, oh, there's no chemistry in this dict. Okay, I'll write get physics. So it tells me what value does this key hold. So these are the basic functionalities on these. So the next thing covered was Numpy. So it's basically a library used to handle numerical computations. It stands for numerical Python. So yeah, we are looking at how arrays, like how arrays are computed using Numpy. So array basically has values of the same data type. And if you look at this is like a one-dimensional array. So it just has one row. So that's why it's one-dimensional. So the number of dimensions is called the rank of an array. And the size along each dimension is the space. It's called shape. Yeah, we'll look at that in detail, like in a bit. So you import NumPy like this, import NumPy as NP, or you can just do import NumPy, but every time you use this, you have to type NumPy dot. So just to make this part easier, you do this import NumPy as NP. So we have a list. We have the list, right? We are converting the list to an array. So how to do that? You're doing it using NumPy. NP dot array list3 and data type is integer. So you're just doing this and now you get the array. Now length of array, it says the array has 6 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 6 elements, so it says 6. And I want to see the number of dimensions. So it just has one row, so it's one dimensional, but still, yeah. Ndim gives you the number of dimensions. And the shape gives you the rows, comma, columns. So it just has one row. Oh, sorry. Okay, it gives columns, comma, rows. So 6, it has 6 values. So it gives you 6, comma. It just has one dimension. So so it gives you 6, comma 1. So I can also I can restructure this array. And so now I want the array to have 2 rows like this and 3 columns. So I just write reshape 2, comma 3. So now I print this. It becomes 2, 4, 6 is in one row, and then 8, 10, 12 is in the other row. So now when I do endim, it it is two-dimensional, right? It has 2 dimensions. One dimension is the one row, the second dimension is the second row. So it has two rows. So when I do array2 dot shape, it gives you rows, comma, columns. 2 rows and 3 columns. 1, 2, 3 columns. Sorry, here I think I made a mistake. So when I just do this is each row of the array. So wait. Uh, okay. So this is how we print the elements in an array, right? I can show you this. So I'm printing. Yeah, so this is how the array is. So it has 6 rows. 6 rows and 1 column, right? So that's why when you do array1 dot shape, you get 6, comma 1. So it's rows, comma column. Rows, comma column. So now I have restructured the array such that it has 2 rows and 3 columns. That's why when I do end shape, I get 2, comma 3, 2 rows and 3 columns. That is the thing. So I can also like have multiple lists and I can convert all these into an array. Ndim is basically the number of dimensions, which is the number of rows. Number of rows in an array is ndim. So we see, sorry, it's not number of rows. Yeah, I can't define it by number of rows or columns. Ndim is actually like whether it's one-dimensional or two-dimensional. So wait, let me just try to put it in a better way. So it just tells you how many axes are there. So here I can say that it just has one axis, right? It's just, let's say it's just like x-axis. It just has one x-axis. But here it has multiple axes. It has, this is one and this is one. Yeah, I don't know how to like explain this better, but uh, this is a one-dimensional array. That's why get ndem is 1. This is a 2D array, 2 dimensions, like x-axis, x and y. So so this would be a 3-dimensional array. So I have 3 lists. So it just tells you the dimensions or the axis that's there in an array. So yeah. So the same thing. Yeah, I'll try to explain it better. I just don't know how to define dimensions. Basically, it tells you whether it's one-dimensional or two-dimensional. So it's like that. So yeah, I have multiple lists. I can also do it this way. I can just do np.array list1, comma list2, list3. So that would be an array. So this is how it is. So it has 3 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, right? But now I want it to have only 1 row and 12 columns. So I can reshape it any way I want. So that's what I'm doing. And what this thing does is item size, it just returns the size of the array in bytes. So all these are integers. So the size of an integer is 8. So this is not necessary for you to like apply anywhere, but yeah, it's just something that you can know. So yeah, these are operations. So you can add elements in two arrays by simply doing, but they have to be same dimensions. Like it has to have the same shape. So in that case, you can add, subtract, or multiply all the elements in arrays. So yeah. So uh, because most of you need to understand why you're learning Python and how it can be applied. I've just given you some simple examples where like in real-time applications using only these functionalities that we just covered. So what did we cover? We just covered sequence data types, right? Sequence data types and NumPy arrays. So we just saw these. So I've just given examples of how you can use these for real-time applications. So the first thing is like analyzing customer feedback. So let's say we all have these feedback forms. So you like usually you just like given your feedback in a Google Doc or something. So what happens in the back end? So when the receiver, whoever creates the feedback form, they receive the feedback. So you might probably see that those results like give you a pie chart or it gives you like bar plots or something, right? It can give you such depictions. So how are those made? So basically what happens in the backend is you get the feedback as a string. So let's say I'm just creating a Google Doc to get one sentence, like just one sentence of a feedback. So this is what customer number one tells me, customer number two. So yeah, I'm just reading all of their feedbacks. And then what I'm doing is I'm just splitting, I'm converting everything into a lowercase because Python is like case sensitive, could be. So I'm just converting everything to lowercase. I'm just explaining what this code does. But yeah, we have not gone into loops yet. So you don't need to worry about these right now. If you don't understand how these loops works, it's fine for now. But I'm just telling you how these sequence data types and all the operations that we did are used here. Right. So we saw dot lower. So I'm converting everything to a lowercase and split is just splitting it, splitting every word. So it's doing that. And now we are using the count. So it's now splitting every word. It's then counting the occurrence of each word. So that's what it does. And it just tells me the words and the number of occurrences. So somebody, like I see great, somebody said great just once. And two people have mentioned about service. Two people say something about quality. And four people say something about product. So this is what happens in the back end. So nobody sits and reads all the feedback. Like when you get feedback from hundreds of people, you can't read everything, right? You just see how many people say good, how many people say bad. If I just want to know good service or bad service, yeah, that this is what happens in the back end. So one more example is handling product inventories. Like you have a departmental store, right? You receive all the stocks of items. So let's say like I just have a supermarket. I received 100 apples. So the price of each apple is $0.5. I don't know why I've written point 0.5, but okay. Yeah. So you just have the price, you have the quantity, or it could also be the number of apples sold today, number of bananas sold. So the price. So the total number of this, so I just want to see how much have I sold and how much money did I earn today. It just multiplies 100 into 5 plus 150 into 0.2 plus 50 into 1.5. So this is what the code does and gives you total inventory value is 155. So this is how you can use this like in this kind of applications. And then analyzing weather data. So you have an array of the weather temperature in Celsius at a particular place. So, oh, like in a week. So the average, so this is what happens in like Google weather or Apple weather forecast apps. So the average weekly temperature, you calculate it by Numpy NP dot mean. It calculates the mean of all the elements in the array. So mean, median, and standard deviation. So you get mean temperature, median temperature, and all this. So this is how it can be applied with weather data. And then like financial, let's say we are analyzing stocks. So you would see like i- if you're if you're invested in a stock and you're looking at the stock returns, you can see some value either in red or green. It tells you plus 2.6. So what does that mean? Or it says minus 2.6, something like that. So these values are basically your daily stock returns. So it just collects like I'm having the stock prices over a week. So it just calculates the uh, daily returns is basically today's return subtracted from yesterday's return. Yeah, so that's what this does. Like over a week, it just does that for every pairs of values and it tells you the daily returns. So you get an output. So yeah, this is how like this programming can would be used in like stock market data analysis and stuff. And then image processing. So this is basically the codes. Like there are codes for each colors. So 0 would be black and 255 is the code for white. So this is it. And you just want to invert it or reverse the values. So yeah, you'll get the inverted image. So wherever there's 255, it'll become 0. Wherever there's 0, it'll become 255 and the image will be inverted. So this is yeah, Python is widely used for this kind of application in a field called image processing. Yeah. So this is one of the applications. And then like in chemistry, to analyze chemical compounds. So I have defined a dictionary which has the atomic weight for each uh, like atom. Hydrogen 1.008, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur. So it has the atomic weights. So now I have a list of compounds. So water, carbon dioxide, like nitric, and all these. So now I want to calculate the molecular weight of each compound. So what happens? It just like it uses this information in the dictionary. So wherever there's a H, it uses this value. Wherever there's a C, it uses this value. So yeah, it calculates it accordingly. So you just need to define this, and this is the script to calculate the molecular weight. So it just does this. So this is how you can use it in like chemistry. And then in chemical engineering, like to handle experimental data. So in chemical engineering, there's mostly like reactors and reaction kinetics and all that happens. And you have a lot of calculations that you need to do. And there are certain like constants, like gas constant, activation energy. So all that you already define. But these are the variables. The temperatures, these are recorded from your experiment. Reaction rate is also, you record these. And then what does this do? It tries to calculate something. So yeah, you're trying to calculate the average reaction rate at different temperatures. So yeah, you just have to like write in the formula and it takes in every value and it calculates. So this is an application in chemical engineering. And then bioinformatics. If you any of you are doing biotechnology, so you would be aware that this is like a sequence, a DNA sequence. DNA sequences are composed of A, T, G, and C. So there's something called GC content that you need to calculate. So this is very important when you design primers for PCR amplification. So yeah, just people in the domain, you'll understand what I'm saying. So for that, you need to calculate GC content. GC content is basically the percentage of G and C in a given sequence. So what this does is it just takes this in as a string. It counts the number of G's, counts the number of C's, it adds them and multiplies it by the whole length of the string and gives you a percentage, like into 100%. So yeah, so these are all the operations that we saw today: dot count, string, and then this is this is a list. This is a dictionary. So this is like appending, right? You're just adding these things into the existing thing. So yeah, so this is how you can apply these basic operations in daily life and such major applications. So this is just to give you a perspective of why you're learning this. So yeah, like whatever you want to do, you have to learn from scratch. You have to start from somewhere. So this course is just like the starting point for you to just tell you the opportunities. Okay, can I re-explain item size? Item size is just, so let's say, so I have an array. I don't know if the array has integers or float values. So, but if I do item size and if I get 8, it means that the array is composed of integers. If I get an item size of 4, it means the array is composed of float. So this is basically the size in bytes. So integers have a size of 8 bytes. Float values, they decimal values, they have a byte size of 4. So that's what item size is. It just tells you the size of the values in bytes. Right. Yeah, that's it I had for today. Yeah, I just want the main goal was like to give you a perspective of how these basic functions are important for bigger applications. I had shared the link to the video like last week's video. How do I share the channel link? Hmm. Okay, yeah. Let me just copy the channel. YouTube channel. Yeah, can you check if you can access this? Yeah, just give me some channel ID. Oh, okay, wait. Yeah, I found the link. Yeah, let me just. Uh, yeah, I'm sorry, my laptop is just. Copy, copy, copy. Yeah, this is the channel link. So you should find a playlist called Python for Data Science. So if you go into playlists, there is NPTEL Python for Data Science. So yeah, I'll be uploading all the videos into that
Give you
playlist.
credits.
And this material, whatever I discussed today, will be uploaded to this Google Drive. Google Drive. Yep. Yeah, the session will be uploaded tomorrow morning. When you wake up, you should find the recording because it takes like up to 2 hours for the video to be accessible on cloud. And because like I'm currently in Australia, it's already 12:30, like midnight. So yeah, I can't wait for 2 hours now. But yeah, so when you wake up tomorrow morning, it should be there. I just shared the Google Drive link and the YouTube video channel. So yeah, I just shared these links. So the recordings, YouTube recordings will be uploaded to this channel and the content will be uploaded to this Google Drive. right? Yeah, so the most important thing is that you just keep practicing. The major goal of this course is for you to like just copy paste like these codes that we provide. You can practice, and if you get an error, you need to understand why you're getting the error. Mostly the error is because like you cannot perform that function on specific data types or things, or you're trying to access elements that don't exist. So yeah, like you just need to keep practicing to learn. You just can't memorize things and do it. You'll learn only when you practice. All right. I, I'll see you next week then, next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Thank you so much.